Hi guys, how you doing? It's Friday the 13th, woo! And if you're watching this after Friday the 13th, then greetings from the past, woo! This is a video I've gotten a request for a lot of times over the years, and I figured it was finally time that I did it, in honor of Friday the 13th. Why else? I'm finally going to tell you guys my experiences with the paranormal. Keep in mind, all of these stories are completely 100% true. I swear on it. So get comfy, grab yourself a snack, dim the lights, and enjoy the following stories from my personal experiences. Once upon a time, many decades ago, I was a teenager. I lived with my mom, of course, in kind of a rustic cabin type house in the woods. Very isolated, very rural. It was very, very quiet out in the middle of those woods, I remember, and my room happened to be downstairs in the basement. We converted most of the basement into a finished room for my bedroom, and it was as quiet as a coffin in that room. All of the following stories take place in that room during the time that I was living at home as a teenager. The first story is kind of mild, but nevertheless kind of eerie. I had this figurine, and I showed it in a past video of mine, which is what led people to ask for this video to be made. It was a Freddy Krueger doll that stood about this high, and it had a push button in the back, and it had a speaker. It was motion activated, and it would quote the movie. Whenever you push the button in the back, it would turn on the motion activation. And so whenever something would pass in front of it, it would quote the movie and say, "Hey, no running in the hallway." So I had it sitting on top of my TV stand in my room. At the time of this story, this took place during the dead-ass middle of the night. My bedroom door was closed, so there were no animals or anything like that. There was one tiny little window in my bedroom that was ground level, and the doll wasn't even facing in that direction, so nothing could have activated it from that far away or from that angle. I was lying in bed. I was asleep. And I woke up to this thing going off. I woke up instantly. Heard it, it woke me up, and as I woke up, I heard it still going, and it irritated me because it startled me awake, and I could still hear it. So I got up, walked across the room, didn't know what set it off. I just figured it was a fluke or something. I went to push the button in the back to turn it off, and found out the button was already off. The doll wasn't even on, and somehow it went off anyway. Another story is a little bit unsettling, looking back on it. At the time, for some reason, it didn't scare me. I still don't understand why, but looking back on it, when I reiterate the story, if this happened to me now as an adult, I would run for the hills. So this happened in my same basement bedroom downstairs in my mom's house. This was something that occurred every night for about 3 or 4 days, so it happened multiple times. This wasn't just a one-time thing, and it never happened again. I was sleeping, and my bed had a headboard, and I got woken up every night for 4, 5, 6 nights in a row by this loud banging on my headboard. And it woke me up, and I still heard it a little bit into waking up, and then it would stop. And the way that I solved it was I turned around and put my pillow at the foot of the bed and slept on the other end of the bed. And it didn't happen when I slept with my head at the foot of the bed. Yeah, if that happened to me now as an adult, I don't think that I would just calmly switch to the foot of the bed. I think that I would be going to Motel 6 and being like, "Rent me a room for the week, buddy." Still scares the hell out of me to even think about it. And I don't know what was wrong with me that it didn't scare me then, but it scares me now. Another story that's a little more intense. I was lying in bed. A lot of these things happened while I was lying in bed. I don't know why. This time in particular, I was not asleep. I've always had trouble sleeping, and this was one of my times trying to go to sleep, but I was just laying there, I had my eyes open and everything. I was fully wide awake. Outside of that little window that I told you about, there was a ball of light, like someone was standing on the other side of the window with a flashlight, like up against the glass. It wasn't a car that went by, because that window on the side of the house didn't face the road. It was actually parallel to the road, so I wouldn't have seen headlights caught in my window anyhow, especially like that. It was a straight bright ball of light right up against my window. I thought someone was right outside my window with a flashlight, like looking in, and that scared me. But then the light grew into this enormous bright thing, and then just went away. The room suddenly got warmer. I know they talk about when a spirit's presence is there, is felt, the room gets colder. This time the room got warmer, and it was like a comfortable warm. And then the air suddenly smelled different that I couldn't quite identify. It wasn't a pleasant smell, it was kind of like a sharp, bitter smell. So I'm laying in bed, I just saw this bright light. I didn't know what it was. The room's warmer now, it smells weird, and my hairs are standing up even telling the story, because yeah, I got goosebumps just telling the story, because I remember how scared I was, because I didn't know what was going on. Like, that was too much to deal with at one time to even process, and I didn't know anything about anything at that time. And after a couple of minutes, it all went away. The room went back to normal temperature, the smell went away, and I stopped feeling all creeped out by it. It was just over. To this day, I still have no idea what that could have been. Please leave your theories in the comments. I would love to hear theories about that one. And the last story that I have for you guys is the freakiest one, personally. That one might have been the freakiest to some of you, but this one personally bothers me the most still. I was downstairs in my bedroom, as always. I wasn't asleep though. It wasn't even time for bed. It was something like 8 o'clock in the evening, and I had my light on, and I was laying on the floor doing my homework. There was a vent in my ceiling, and because of the location of the hole of the vent that was in the floor of the living room right above me, the sound traveled and I could hear stuff that went on upstairs, like if my mom was on the phone or if she was watching a movie on TV or whatever. I'm laying on the floor, minding my own business, doing my math homework, and I hear my mom watching a TV show upstairs on a video. She did this all the time, and she has never really been able to hear the greatest, so she cranks that TV up loud. And it wasn't just like a faint, I had to strain to hear it thing either. Like, it was loud enough that it was actually disrupting my ability to focus on my homework. So after about 5 minutes of this, I was like, oh, I gotta go upstairs and ask her to turn this down. I can't focus on my homework. I go up the stairs, and if you're not familiar with my house, I go out the door, up the stairs, turn the corner, and there's the living room. It takes all of 6 seconds to go from my room up to the living room. My mom's bedroom is right off the living room. So I'm still hearing the television blaring away. I open my door, I walk up the stairs, I walk into the living room with my finger up and my mouth open, about to say, hey. The living room was completely dark, the TV was off, my mom was in her bedroom door was shut, and she was sound asleep. I did a backwards slow walk out of the living room and ran back down the stairs to my room and shut the door, and I didn't hear it anymore, but I don't know what that was. I don't know what I heard, but it was clear as day, but there was nothing there, which is similar to something my mom actually experienced in the same house. My bedroom was, right below, obviously, in the basement, where I had my stereo system. My music playing area was right underneath my mom's bedroom, and she frequently had to come downstairs and ask me to turn my music down because it was like 10 o'clock at night, she's trying to sleep. She goes to bed early, I stay up late. It's never been a good situation for anybody. So sometimes I play my music a little too loudly, she'd have to ask me to turn it down because she was trying to sleep. So she told me about one time she heard my music, but she wasn't trying to sleep. It was like the middle of the day. She was just in her room and she heard my music, but it was bothering her because she was like trying to read or just relax or whatever. And she said that she started to go downstairs to tell me to turn it down, but then she remembered that I was 2 hours away in a different city in college. And that room was just kind of generally freaky. I heard carnival music a lot when I was in that room. If I sat in this one spot on my bed, I heard very faint. This was the kind of sound that you did kind of have to strain to hear, but I could still hear it. And I wasn't the only one. Whenever I had friends over and we would just sit on my bed and hang out or whatever, they would shush me. I wouldn't say a word. I'd say nothing. They would shush me and say, shh, do you hear that? And I would just kind of sit there and I'm like, what are you hearing? And they're like, it sounds like the carousel, like the carnival. So, and I didn't tell them anything about it, so that was strange. I have no idea what that was about. The land where the house was built, it was confirmed there was an area where a lot of Indians were. My mom found multiple arrowheads, lots of like clay pot pieces, bones that were carved into like chiseling and pounding implements, because my dad was an excavator and he turned up the earth a lot, and my mom would walk around and hunt for this stuff and she'd find all these things. So there was a lot of Indian presence on that land. And my mom said that sometimes she would walk into the woods just to meditate or whatever, and she said that she could feel the presence of the past spirits of the Indians in the woods. And I totally believe her, because we have a bloodline of psychic activity, not to put too fine a point on it. And my great-grandma actually practiced tarot and everything, and my grandma used to joke about how our family has the ESP, and I myself am sensitive as well. So what happened in that room? I don't know. All of those stories, I still have no explanation for, but I look back on them. I've told the stories many times to many people, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts about it. Leave in the comments what you think, how it made you feel. I have my own theories, but I'm interested to see maybe you guys know something that I don't. So I'd be interested to see if maybe your theories corroborate with what I think. Tell me your own stories. And if you have YouTube channels, I encourage you to make a video of your own about your own paranormal experiences. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my stories, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday the 13th. Don't forget to open the description box to check out all of the links to my websites and other channels and whatnot. And thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.